Hello, everybody, and welcome to a last episode for season 2 of Convos and Cocktails. Oh, what a season we've had. Looking back, you can't see my memories, but I'm looking back right now. And it's been amazing. So today I'm going to do a solo episode just to say thank you for watching the season. Thank you for the support. And to answer some of your questions. There are some agony aunt style questions. There's some personal questions. I don't have anything in any order. I'm just going to read them and answer them and have fun. This is my last time in the studio for the year, for the season. So yeah, I'm going to do what the fuck I want. Anyway, my drink of choice today is a Cosmopolitan. The reason why I chose it is because it's delicious. It's my favorite cocktail. I like sweeter cocktails. I also like the Sex and the Citiness of it. Anyway, cheers and thank you. And here's to another great season. Yes. Okay. Oh, always just... All right. So the first question, I'm just getting into it now. I told you there's no order to this thing. I'm not trying to be super professional about it. I'm just gonna, because they're here. So the first one is, in your comedic work, as you started going mainstream, how did you balance sanitizing your humor and still being hilarious? Your satire, especially your satire, social commentary. So how did I balance? I don't think I sanitized my humor. I mean, I released a video recently and I would say it's like pretty unsanitized. Obviously, when you work with brands, you have to, not say certain things, like maybe not mention political parties, not mention, race too much. But I also do believe that if I've reached a point in my career where if you're going to work with Coconut Kells, like if you want Coconut Kells, just take Coconut Kells. If you don't want Kells, then work with someone else. I don't like to take too much out of what made people like Kells, because I think people, first of all, that's transparent, and I think people can see when I'm not being myself. Also, it's not as funny if I can't do Kells. So I try very hard to work with the brand to let them understand that let's take me as I am, because it works. It's a formula. You will not get canceled, I promise. And I've been able to do this and I know how to do it without going too far. But yeah, I don't think I sanitize too much when I work with brands. And personally, I don't sanitize. So this one's more of a, an agony auntie one. But it says, what steps can one take to stop betraying themselves and start living how they want to live? I don't know if there's steps. But the thing is about how I live is like, I just do. I wish I said there was a formula where it's like, step 1, pray. Step 2, go outside. Just kind of do it. The thing is, people are always going to talk whether you do or whether you don't. And the worst thing you can do is betray yourself in order to please other people rather than maybe pissing other people off and staying true to yourself. So yeah, either way, you're going to piss somebody off, and you'd rather piss off other people than live with the knowledge that you're not being yourself. See, that's just the truth. Just do it. Just do it. People will get on board or they won't. And either way, it doesn't matter. So this one's another agony auntie one. I love these ones. I met a guy. We've been talking for 2 months now. He's a full-time dad and runs his business. So our time is limited. I like him. And he's made it clear that he enjoys my company. I'm worried that in the long run, it might not work because of his busy schedule. Should I leave or wait it out in the hopes that he'll make time in future once we get serious? You've also added clown emojis, which I don't think need to be there. I don't think this is a clown question at all if you're trying to make it work. Doesn't sound like too much is wrong. He's busy. We want in Zotza, maybe in Mali. So I don't see too much wrong with this. But if you're someone like me who likes a lot of attention and affection from my partner, I would just kind of communicate that. I don't think it's something to leave immediately. You said you enjoy his company. He enjoys your company. 2 months is too short to see that he's not able to make it work. I would just try it out, communicate what you need. I would wait it out. It's not an issue. It's not a deal breaker issue for me or a red flag. But if it does get to a point after 6 months or a year where you feel like really he's not able to make the time that you need, then you need to just decide what's more important. Do you want this person or do you want somebody who's available all the time? Because I know plenty of available people, but they don't got jobs. So, make your choice. Personally, I do need someone who can make time and is available. So I don't know if I would date a full-time dad, but seems like you like him, so why not? This one says, hi, I'm 35 this week. Happy birthday. This is going to be after your birthday, but happy birthday anyway. I've been a little more self-conscious of my face and its folds. Should I get Botox? Child, not 35. No, not judging 35-year-olds who get Botox, but you getting conscious of your face now. I'm 35 in a few months, and but anyway, different faces. I would get Botox if you want to get Botox. I have no judgment for any kind of procedures or surgeries or if you want to get Botox, get Botox. I personally would love to wait until my 40s before I explore that. But if you really feel a certain way and you feel like you can't take selfies or smile or enjoy your face and just relax and stop thinking about it so much, get a little bow. Get a little bow. Ain't nothing wrong. I know plenty of people who get Botox and they're my age and younger. So how do you find the light again on very dark days? So I am very lucky. I don't necessarily have as many dark days as I kind of witness on social media from other people or have heard about. I think I have very dark moments, but I'm such an optimist and I'm such a positive person that they quite, even when they feel like they're lasting forever, sometimes it's just like a few hours. But I just feel like I'm a big crier. I'm a big feeler. I will just cry if I need to cry. I think the best way to get over something is to get through it. I don't think you can sort of put it aside or climb over it. So I think the best advice I would have is if you feel dark and you want to cry and you want to be alone and you're feeling sorry for yourself or you're depressed, I mean, first of all, that would be more professional help that I would seek. But if it's just like sad days, then cry if you need to cry, scream, write. Journaling helps sometimes. I'm giving you advice as if I journal. I do not. But I find that a lot of people say journaling helps. But my personal thing is just to sometimes listen to music and feel sorry for myself for whatever period until I move through whatever's affecting me. And talking about it. I should have added that. Talk about it. What's your type when it comes to dating? Oh, I love dating questions because they're fun. What's my type? I don't think I have a type when it comes to looks, because when I look back at or maybe I've never been able to date my type because he doesn't live here. But I don't know if I have a physical type so much. I do like sort of tall. Okay, maybe I'm actually describing a type as I say this, but I like tall. I like not muzzles. You mustn't, like those people who just be in the gym and it's just, I don't like muzzles, don't like too much, but like a good body. I don't know. Black. Yeah, you got to be black. But intelligence, humor, you've got to be funny. I'm super funny. I love laughing. I can't date someone who takes themselves too seriously, who's not funny, who doesn't find me funny. So also there was a time where people were giving me advice to date someone in the language I wanted to learn, which at the time was French. It's still French. And I was like, I don't want someone who doesn't know I'm funny. He can be French, but he's got to know English. We've got to be able to communicate. Communication is a big thing for me. I can't date someone where we're just not able to talk. So humor, adventure. If I'm let's go to Paris tomorrow, let's just go. Okay, so obviously you've also got to have the means to be able to follow my adventures. But I think just kind, generous, affectionate. I love affection, attention, soft and gentle. I feel like I've described a lot of things. But someone who's successful, ambitious, makes time, that kind of thing. So this one's about high school. Well, I hated that place. You were in boarding school in high school. Did you travel back and forth to Joburg during school holidays? Yes. Did anyone just stay at school forever? I did travel back and forth. We had a school bus that took us from school to Zoo Lake, and then all the parents would pick us up at Zoo Lake. Some people flew. I don't think I might have flown once, but I can't remember if I did. Anyway, I heard traveling changes people. How has it changed you, and why do you like it so much? There is nothing better than traveling. For a lot of reasons. I think it opens you up to different kinds of people. I think whenever I meet people who have the means but don't travel, I feel like the minute they start talking, you can kind of sense that they haven't left their bubble. They're the biggest thing where they are. They're the most important thing where they are, and it kind of it shows that they think that. And it expands your mind so much when you, especially if you go to places where you might not speak the language, where the culture is very different. Because if you're traveling kind of to places that are very similar to South Africa, I mean, even England, it does expand your mind a bit because there's lots of different cultures, but it's so similar to SA in so many ways that I just felt like, am I really gone? There's a Nando's on every corner. There's so many expats there from SA that it just didn't feel like I was far enough away. But I think it just, it gives you a different perspective of things. It makes you realize how small and insignificant your issues are, like the things that you think are important. There's just so much out there. It expands what you think is possible. When I lived outside of South Africa, for the first time, I was like, oh, I can actually make my dreams come true. I can chase this thing. I can make satire or my television dreams or any of these things come true. Because a lot of the time I was so scared of people's opinions and so scared of like what people thought about me. So I think travel just allows you to like remember that those things just don't matter. There's just so much more in the world, so much more to see, so much more to experience. And people who are just doing cool shit that like, yo, fuck the noise. So that's what helped me with travel. But also it makes you closer. Like if you go with people, sometimes people love solo travel. I'm not a fan of solo travel. I cannot think of anything more boring than just like being alone for that long. I need people. So I like traveling with my friends and my family. And I think it just makes us so much closer for those shared experiences. There's so much that goes right on holidays. There's so much that goes wrong on holidays, but it turns into like next year's hilarious anecdote. But yeah, I just think it forces you to stretch yourself. It forces you to problem solve. It forces you to find different ways of communicating because you don't always speak the same language. And it just expands your mind so much. I think travel, if you can afford it, is the best gift you can give yourself. I would rather live in a small apartment and travel for the rest of my life than have a house and a car that looks like whatever, but never leave SA. I spoke a lot about that. I'm so passionate about travel. If I had like a family totem pole, it would be a passport stamp. Anyway, when would you like to have children? Do you see yourself being a mom? I don't see myself being a mom, and I would not like to have children. So that's the short answer. I think if it happened and I didn't know until like 6 months that I was pregnant and like had to have the kids, I think I'd be a great mom. But I really don't see myself having children. I think just the fact that I know that people say you can travel with kids and you can move around with kids and stuff like that, but my freedom is so important to me. The fact that I can just pick up and move, which I'm doing, which by the time you've seen this, I would have done. And I'll probably do at least 2 or 3 more times before, I die. I just don't want that restriction, the financial restriction. It's very restrictive to me, children. And I see the blessings, but not personally, I know. Anyway, so this one is, your gals, you guys trust me with the questions. That's so nice. I don't know if I can solve them all. This is not me saying I'm a psychologist, but I mean, I've been doing Instagram Mondays for long enough that I might have learned something. Anyway, so I have a baby daddy of 6 years who's a narcissist and treats me like shit. Just recently started talking to someone who's so sweet and so caring and wants the best for me, but I'm terrified of leaving because of our daughter. What do I do? I don't know the circumstances that make you terrified to leave, but if it's just because you think your child wants you guys to be together, then I would say no, leave. There's no child on earth who wants their mom and dad or mom to be unhappy and to stay in a relationship because they think the children want it. Divorce is hard. There's no one who has gone through divorce who hasn't, a child of divorce, and also the adults, but a child of divorce who hasn't been affected by it in some way. So as soon as you can, child therapy, family therapy. But if you're staying just because you think your child might want the family unit, yes, maybe in the short term they do, but in the long term, when they realize what you left and why you left, they'll be very happy that you put yourself first, because a happy mom is a happy baby. So if that's the reason, then definitely leave. If, I don't know what the setup is, if it's a financial thing, but I have friends who've left, very young friends who've gotten divorced in their 30s, 40s, with kids and without kids, and who kind of had to start again, like literally rebuild from the ground up. And it is possible. I'm not sure what your circumstances are, so I don't want to give you advice that next year you're calling me like, girl, pay my rent because you said I must leave. But it's possible, and it's better to leave a situation of abuse, because narcissism, if you mean it in the real way, is a form of emotional abuse. So yeah, if you can and you have the support, or you have structures in place, set yourself up to be able to leave, and then leave. You don't have to stay. But yeah, think about your own circumstances and answer the question for yourself. My advice is to go. Would you have a threesome? I want to. I mean, girl, if you want to, what's stopping you? Would I have a threesome? I would, but I would only have a devil's threesome, which is 2 guys and me, because I'm just not like physically or sexually interested in women. So I feel like it would just be us waiting turns to be like, your turn. Okay, high five, my turn. And no. Also, I wouldn't do it with a romantic partner, because I actually know a story where this girl and her friend slept with her man, and then he literally left her for the friend. So never with my man, and only with 2 guys. But who knows? Maybe I should drink enough and then it can happen today. Okay. I know you've done this before. But please advise me how to conduct myself in the workplace. I'm new. Well, I don't have advice for how to conduct yourself in the workplace, because I don't know where you work. I don't know what the culture is. I don't know what the racial setup is. For me, I would just say be myself. But I've also had conversations with people who are like, don't be yourself too much, because it can get you in trouble, especially if you're Black and a woman. But I don't know. I haven't been in like a corporate or a workspace enough to give you advice, especially without more detail. My thing is just be yourself, though. I mean, do your work, be good at your job, be great at your job, be irreplaceable, but be yourself, and should work out. So how's it going with, and this girl got the name right. Remember my mom had a video where she was mouthing the name and everybody was like, oh my God, this name, and it was the wrong name. It's going well. Thanks for asking. That's all I want to say for now. It's going well. Would you say dating someone that's not your type is settling? Well, it depends on what not your type is. If it's like he's uglier than your usual, or he looks different to your usual, then no, I wouldn't say it's settling. I think it's just opening your mind. As you get older as well, I think some things that were more important, like a 6-pack, might not be that important. Like dad bods become a little bit more, I don't know, enticing or interesting as you get older. I mean, not personally, but so I wouldn't say not dating your physical type is settling. It's just, I don't know if you're always going to find your physical type anyway. But I would say that if you date someone who has your deal breakers, that's settling. So if someone's not kind, if someone's, like for instance, dating a non-funny person or non-kind person or non-generous person, for me would be settling, and it'd be wild to do that. I think date your type personality-wise, but don't put such like extreme, like, I don't know, specific things on paper that he must have this length of nail or this length of hair. Like sometimes your type will come in a different package, and I don't think that's settling. But I think if it's, like I said, his personality and things that are super important to you, then yeah, if it's not something that you can enjoy or open your mind to, then maybe it's settling. But it just depends on, again, some of these questions are a bit broad. It depends on what you mean. But I don't think dating like a bigger guy than you would, or a shorter guy, or a taller guy, or a skinnier guy, is settling. Anyway, how do I tell him I can't stand being kissed with tongue with morning breath? Why do you need to find a way to tell him? I think you just need to say it like, hey, babe, when we wake up in the morning, we wake up in the morning, so let's brush our teeth before, or like maybe have like just a cup of mouthwash on the side. Does it need to, I don't know if it needs to be like brushing teeth deep. If you can't stand it, I don't know if I'd love a tongue make-out session before brushing teeth, to be honest. I can kiss, but yeah, maybe leave a little cup of mouthwash on the side, and then you don't have to get out of bed. It's just like when you wake up, you're, rinsing, and then maybe it's okay, unless you're quite pedantic about it being a teeth brushing thing. But I mean, if you can't stand it, just say it. Guys, anything that you can't stand, anything that you want more of, just say it. Because the worst they can do is like, I don't know, I guess say no, and then you make a decision whether you're willing to put up with it or not. But yeah, you shouldn't be stuck kissing someone whose breath you can't stand in the morning. Woo! This one's a little more serious, but you know, I love it. Have you ever felt stuck in every aspect of your life? How did you get yourself out of that or push through? There was a period, 2017 to 2019. So it was a full 2 years where I was like unemployed. Kels was not popping yet. I had left a job because I was super unhappy with the sort of behind the scenes of the television industry. And I was just like trying, and I was very lucky. My mom was like, hey, I got you, you can live here, whatever. But I was trying so hard to not do a job that was like my old job. Eventually I was like, okay, I have to start applying for these jobs again because I can't do this forever. But at that time, nothing was going right. I was in a relationship that wasn't happy on both sides. You know, the person knows that. So everything just felt completely shit and too shit. But I don't know. I had the faith of Kels. Like, I think I always knew that like something would happen with this other side of my career. So I pushed through with that. I don't think I had every day or every week where I was positive. You know, there were some days, even on my birthday, I think 2018, I was just completely, and I'm a big birthday celebrator. I was like, nah. I got a surprise party because of it. So, and you know, people were like, no, she has to celebrate her birthday. But I just felt like, it's not happening. It's not worth it. I need to go back and do the things that make me unhappy. But I did have that little faith. So I think there needs to be one thing in your life that you have faith about, whether it's not happening now or not, but just that you know it will work out. And then work at it every day. Something needs to be, you know, happening in your life every day that you know you're working towards this thing. This one says, I currently feel so stuck in my career. I know I'm 25 and people say you'll have your whole life ahead of you, but really looking to have a mentor. How do I do it? Well, who are you looking to have be your mentor? I would send them an email or a DM if you know them on Instagram. And I would ask them to mentor me. Sometimes people are really busy. And also sometimes people don't feel ready. Like I know some people have asked me to mentor them and I'm like, girl, I'm still being mentored. Like I still need help and plenty of it. So I would just send an email or a DM to whoever you'd love to have mentor you, or just simply look at the moves that they're making in their career. Sometimes you're not able to access those people or they don't have time, like I said, but simply by watching them, maybe if they're a famous person or someone who does business in the public eye, you can listen to the things that they say in interviews, because sometimes they ask similar questions in a lot of interviews. How did you get started? What did you do when you were feeling low? You know, sort of questions, and listening to those kind of things can help you be mentored by them from afar. I think feeling stuck in your career at 25, and people do say you have your whole life ahead of you. Yes, you do. But it's also frustrating, and I know that it sucks to feel stuck in your career, and you're allowed to feel stuck. You do have your whole life ahead of you, but right now is where you're feeling, and that's valid. People shouldn't invalidate your feeling stuck just because you're 25. I would just say, write down the things that because in what way do you feel stuck? Do you feel stuck that you want to do something else? Or do you feel stuck like you're not progressing? If it's the progression one, yes, be patient. 25 is young. If it's the I'm not doing what I want to do, I would write down a list of things that I like and things that I'm good at and see if there are ways and places that they sort of converge, and see if there's a career you can make out of it. If you have the means, I would do a part-time course in it or pursue it as a side hustle. Yeah, there are ways to pursue stuff and still obviously, keep employment because that's important too. This one's pretty simple. Paris or Nice, and why? To live, Paris. To vacation, depends on your budget, but I mean, I like the beach, so Nice. I just love Paris. Like, as you know by now, I live there now, or I'm studying there. So definitely always have time for Paris. But ain't nothing wrong with a beach view, a cocktail. Nice has just got a very different vibe. It's kind of like comparing Joburg and Cape Town. I'm a big city girl. I could never live in a sort of smaller town or a quiet town, which yeah, Nice is not that quiet a town, but it's definitely got smaller town energy than Paris. I'm in New York, Joburg, London, Paris. I'm that girl. So I would always choose, Paris. Have you ever lost friendships with your white counterparts as a result of your satirical work? If so, did you give them a chance to redeem themselves where they had to learn and unlearn? So firstly, I don't believe in like being above, people like you need to learn and unlearn to be able to be my friend. Either we get along or we don't, or either we have the same views or we don't. So have I lost friendships with my white counterparts? So much, so many. So many. I've also regained some as we've gotten a lot older. I mean, Cal started when we were in our mid-20s. So I think people just come out of school and felt like I was personally going for them or attacking their character or whatever, because maybe there's still some similarities, even though it wasn't based on any one specifically. So I have made some back, like one or two back, and I also have kept some since high school. But yeah, I've lost a lot of friendships with problematic people in general. That's white people, that's men, that's some black women. Like, bruh, people have stopped being friends with me on account of being problematic in some ways to them. So, but yes, to answer your question in short, people have stopped being my friends because of Kels. Anyway, hi Lesego. Any suggestions on where to travel abroad as a first-time traveler? Oh my gosh. Anyway, the first time I felt magic when I went away was New York City. It's just one of those places that like lives up to the hype. I don't know anyone who's ever been to New York who didn't feel like, wow. The only reason I would suggest Europe over America maybe is because you can go to many cities in America, I guess. But when you go to Europe, if you have the budget, you can do sort of a few nights in different countries. So I would maybe choose like Lisbon is super friendly people. The reason why I wouldn't say Paris is because people sometimes get overwhelmed by like the demeanor or disposition of French people, especially Parisians, which can be quite, I wouldn't even say unfriendly, but they just need you to get to the point. You know what I mean? Like you're not going in there like, hey, how are you? They're like, hi, what do you want? So like Lisbon is very much more friendly. It's also easier on the pocket. It's much cheaper. The weather is better. Yeah, maybe something like Lisbon, but I would try and do a multi-city stop because I think, you have chances to go away mostly once a year, if even that. So taking a Europe trip, you can do trains in between the countries. You can even do a bus if some of the countries or cities are close enough together, or if you're patient. So Lisbon was fantastic. I would say Lisbon. If you want to go to America, New York. All right. What question do you ask yourself all the time? I don't think I have an internal voice that asks myself a question all the time. Maybe like, are you doing enough? Are you satisfied? What's the next thing? Maybe something like that. I don't know. I always constantly feel like, okay, and then what's next? Where are we going? Done this. Ticked it off. What's next? So maybe what's next? How do you navigate your relationship with your stepmom? We have an episode, so go back some, that I speak about and to my stepmom. So there will be all the questions answered there on how I navigate my relationship. It's not a difficult relationship to navigate, luckily. But yeah, people need different things from their relationships. So I don't think I have to navigate it that hard. I think we both make it work on both sides. And by both, I include my sister. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I have any more questions. Did I get to the end of that so quick? Oh my God. Oh, this one says, how is long distance dating? I assume you're dating in France. Yeah. Long distance sucks. And I am dating somebody who lives in Paris. I would not advise long distance unless you have like long distance money. And by that, I mean like you're going to Paris like the way I would feel would be every month. But as you know, I live here now. I'm saying it here like I'm literally in Johannesburg. But when this episode is coming out, I am there. So it was only because I knew that it was going to be a short-term, long-distance arrangement that I was willing to do it. I would not have chosen to date someone I don't think that lives in Paris if I didn't have any immediate plans of going. So it's been long distance for pretty much the year. And I have gone since, but I would not do it again, unless I knew I was moving even sooner also, because this has been a tough couple of months. But super happy. Don't know what else to answer. I'm not going to go into so much detail, but it is great speaking in the future tense. It is great that I now live here because we're having a good time. Inshallah. Anyway, that is the end of season 2. I don't have any more questions. I'm not going to drag this episode on. It's been great. It's been real. It's been fun. Thank you for tuning in to another great season. I hope to bring you another season from the streets of Paris, darling. Otherwise, go back and watch the season again, because clearly some of you missed, even though they haven't been released yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully. Cheers. Season 3 Convos and Cocktails, produced by Lesego Tlhabi and WMG, and recorded at Podcast TV Studios. Remember, this podcast is streamable on Spotify and other major streaming platforms.